Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Nazar Labunets with Ataccama, and today I have the pleasure of talking with Palash Thakur, a VP, Head of Data Analytics and Fraud at Interac. So welcome, Palash.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining the interview. Let's get started. And why don't you tell us a bit about yourself for the introduction?
Sure. Palash Thakur, VP and Head of Data Analytics as well as Fraud at Interac Corp. And Interac is one of the most trusted financial brands in Canada. Plays a key role in developing Canada's digital payment infrastructure. And my mandate spans across all functions in data analytics, right? Right from data strategy to data analytics governance, business intelligence or insights, advanced analytics, data science, engineering, both analytics engineering and data engineering. And also have the added mandate for fraud analytics and fraud operations function, helping to detect and prevent fraud across our products and services.
Thank you. Let's talk about the role of someone like yourself, like a head of data analytics, like a chief data officer. So, what do you see as the main role and how it has evolved throughout the years?
Yeah, I mean, great question. And the CDO role or the head of data analytics mandate, right? It has obviously changed significantly, and it has evolved over time. So while some aspects of the CDO mandate has remained the same, new accountabilities have come into the mandate of the role. And nowadays, many organizations actually have it as a CDAO, CDAIO role. So it's not a homogeneous job description across organizations that you'll hear. And when we talked about the CDO role over a decade or so back, it was primarily a defense or a trust or a compliance focused function, right? To ensure data risk mitigation, to ensure we're designing an effective information governance program with the right level of policy development, stewardship, custodianship, access controls, data management functions, etc. Now, when you fast forward to where we stand today, and obviously with so much of progress on the analytics and the AI front and Gen AI in these days, right? The role is more of a balanced one, I would say, focusing not only on the defense strategies, but also on offense strategies of executing against value driven use cases for business growth, focused on data monetization and data democratization. And to your first part, what should the role be about? Um, Varies from organization to organization. Right. I think the role, though, can be summarized to be about executing on a data analytics strategy, which focuses on three major aspects. The first and foremost is data culture, right? Driving a data centric and a data first culture across all levels in the organization, where data analytics is really woven into the organizational fabric and decision making process, and that the organization is focused on building the right skills and elevating the data literacy levels of business users, decision makers. I think that is paramount. That is critical aspect of this role. The next thing is more around building core data and analytics capabilities. You have to modernize, develop key data analytics capabilities around controls, the processes, technology and tooling, user enablement, opportunity management as well. How do you capture ideas and execute on them, right? And the whole big business engagement model. How do you engage the business users to capture their needs and wants and execute on them? But the third most important thing, and I think this is really critical for the success of a CDO as well, is how to create a winning proposition with your organization's data, right? How do you utilize the data and the power of analytics, machine learning, Gen AI technologies nowadays, right? Not only to generate insights for decision making internally for your business, but also to look for opportunities to create data assets or data products that can provide your clients, your consumers with value added insights, or that can be eventually monetized or commercialized, right? So to sum it up, in essence, the CDO position requires someone who's multifaceted, right? You should have experience and be well versed in business, strategy, tech, and data. They should know aspects of things like data governance, data science, economics, I would say. They should have a good financial acumen, but also understand the technicalities, right? The architecture, the technologies and the toolings that we have required to support the function, and how data analytics function enables and advances the business. So your CDO needs to be a strategist and an entrepreneur too. That's how I would sum it up, right? Someone who's able to paint the art of the possible, be evangelical in their approach, yet be ready to deliver tactical wins as we go through.
Yeah, that's a big role. It's a true leadership role. Right. Thank you for that answer. So you touched on data products and some other interesting topics in your definition of data strategy, and we will get to them, and winning as well, which is interesting. But before we do that, let's talk about challenges. And it's latest research is saying that 78% on average of CDOs feel that their role is misunderstood compared to the rest of the C-suite. Why do you think that is? What's happening here? How can we introduce clarity and let people get it?
Yeah. Interesting question. And I would say yes at times, right? Now, the CDO organization, although it's been there in the market since what, 2002, 2003, it's still relatively newer compared to the other peer levels, right? When you look at the CFO function or CRO function or product functions and stuff. So to some degree, it stems, the misunderstanding stems from the challenges that we're going to talk about. And these challenges vary organization to organization based on their size, their business model, the company culture. And again, in my opinion, there are a few challenges. I mean, I can probably go on with a laundry list, but I'll probably keep it to three major ones that I think, right? And one of the key challenges is rooted in organizational maturity. Not all organizations understand the key aspects of data analytics, the value it drives, and the patient it requires to see through the benefits, right? So I personally have been lucky that the organizations I have been part of have really understood the value of data analytics, embraced data culture, and prioritized data to a great extent. So within organizational maturity, I think the biggest challenge that we see is understanding of the DNA outcomes, right? Now, some outcomes within data and analytics are very tangible and business relatable, whereas others may not be as quantifiable, yet these are essential components of delivering against a data strategy, right? So these may be perceived to be overheads or taken for granted, right? Why do we need a governance function? How does it really benefit me? So those need justification and education and possibly re-education from time to time of the merits and benefits of investing in these core capabilities of data and analytics, right? Another aspect related to organizational maturity is, and why I think the role is misunderstood, is because the CDO mandates, as I mentioned earlier in the introduction, is not always homogeneous, as the scope of the role varies by organization. You'll find different flavors of CDO org models as well, centralized, decentralized, federated, which also leads to the complexity and conflict of mandates, right? I think the second challenge is about balancing the offense and the defense priorities, right? Both sets are equally important to run a data transformation agenda. It should be seen as an enabler of the business, and we should focus on building functional capabilities. And it's important to demonstrate how data and analytics drives business value and demonstrate the return on investment. But a typical conundrum that CDOs face is where you need to focus on foundational issues. For example, you have to fix data quality issues and increase data trust, which can be a long and tedious journey, right? While you are balancing organizational expectations around data asset monetization, right? So it's a balancing act, but to be successful, CDOs need to set the right expectation, convince on the journey ahead, and show wins along the way. It cannot be a linear model where you set up all the capabilities because you'll never be done with it, right? And then get on to use cases or data productization, etc. So it has to be done in parallel. And that's why the CDO role has to be very malleable and adaptable, right? And the third and final challenge, I will say, for the CDO role and any data analytics organization is actually talent. Finding and retaining top talent for data science, AI, engineering, governance skills, very difficult, right? There's fierce competition amongst employers to tap into the same pool of resources. And the situation has definitely not gotten better in the past few years, right, as we see. So all these challenges essentially lead to the fact that the CDO role is misunderstood at times. But I think organizations have matured. A lot of organizations, the bigger organizations, have matured to a point where I think the role and the function has definite value and definite meaning within their organizations.
All right, thank you. Can we stop at the third challenge you mentioned, finding talent? So this is interesting. This is something that is not discussed that often.
Mhm.
So how do you attract that talent? Because like if you think about it, the jobs are kind of homogeneous. Like if you think about data engineers or data scientists, it's kind of more or less standardized. How do you attract them to your company, to your team? Um, what's your kind of approach?
Yeah, I would answer it in a different way. Like, what makes a CDO function successful, right? The moment the CDO function is successful, you will start attracting the right talent, whether it's internally from the broader organization or from externally as well, right? And you'll get multiple viewpoints on this, but I think the success factors of data analytics organization, and for whether it's a first-time CDO or even a seasoned CDO, if you think about it, is that you have to be very intentional in what strategy you're putting forward, right? You have to be outcome driven. The moment you start prioritizing to focus on understanding your business strategy and delivering on key business outcomes, whether it's a revenue generating opportunity, or process efficiency, cost savings, risk mitigation, or providing value to your clients, consistently achieving these outcomes will drive success. And with success, if you can amplify it, right, you can amplify that brand within the organization as well as externally. I think it helps acquire and build the necessary skills and the talent, and it fosters the right collaborative culture within an organization. And I would say what goes hand in hand with that is the storytelling aspect, right? As you communicate and storytell your success stories to the organization, it really helps root the organization, and spells out the value it brings and creates a branding, right? And also, type of work you're doing. I think a lot of it is dependent on the type of work you're doing, and the reach out or the outreaches you have to various universities, educational institutions, and other job fairs and stuff. I think that is important as well.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. A very sensible answer.
Mhm.
Makes a lot of sense. So thank you, Palash, for joining me today. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.
Thank you.